Yes, friends, in today's class we are studying with the family Arachis. You can see the unbranched stem. This is the unbranched stem where the leaves are arranged alternatively. These are the leaves. Okay, what you can see how the leaves are. These are compound leaf. Pinnately, they might be either pinnately compound or palmately compound leaf. Okay, friends. Now I'll be focusing on the leaf base, how the leaf base is going to appear. Friends, this is the leaf. Okay, can you see? I'm just pointing out. This is the leaf base, and here it is having sheathing leaf base. It means it is going to cover the entire node of the stem. Okay, so we call it a sheathing leaf base. You can see how the sheath are left over. Sheathing leaf base. Friends, now I am focusing on inflorescence. You can just see how heavily the inflorescence is branched. So we call it as compound spadix. You can just see the spadix over here. This is the spadix. Okay, this one. Within each spadix, you can see there. I will zoom in. You can see the spadix over there. How smoothly it has given this compound inflorescence. I just shall explain you here. We are having spadix which has dried over. See friends, if it was having only one inflorescence this way, if it was having only one inflorescence this way, what would happen? If this spadix was covering, we would call it a simple spadix. But you can see how the inflorescence have been branched in this fashion. So we call it as compound spadix. Next to the inflorescence, you can see how the spadix is going to cover. This one is the spadix over here. Next, coming to the flowers. Flowers here are small. In detail, I will be explaining you in later. Here in natural environment, we shall just focus on. At the tip, what you people are going to see are the male flowers. And at the base you can see the round large flowers, a bit larger than male flowers. At the base you can see the female flowers. Here these are. So now we'll be studying in detail regarding the flowers. Friends, I'm just taking out the male flowers so that no, we won't be wasting the female flowers. So I'll be just shaking it out. Withered male flower we'll be studying with, because we have studied here with the inflorescence. Yes, I have got here some female flowers as well as male flowers. I'll be collecting those and I'll be explaining you. Female, we have got fertilized one. Friends, I have here this flower of this Araceae family or the coconut plant. Here we can see how small the flower is. It is unisexual in nature and it is trimerous. Trimerous, it means multiple of 3. Everything is multiple of 3. For example, you can just go for the outer wall of the perianth over here. I'm just going to zoom it. Yes, here you can see clearly how how these 3 are arranged on the outer wall. And inner wall there are 3 perianths. They are larger than the outer wall. These are the outer wall and these are the inner wall, and they are larger. They are thick, leathery in texture. I'll be showing them how the texture is going to appear. And outer wall is alternate, this inner wall is alternate to the outer wall. And next, coming to the anthers are opposite to the outer wall. You can just see it is lying on the same axis, lying on the same line, so we call it as opposite. outer whorl here, even anthers here are in two whorls. You can see two whorls of anther. Inner side 1, 2, 3, and outer side 1, 2, and 3. Here one more is there. Here 3. So totally 6 anthers are present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even they are present in two whorls, 3 in each. Now just see it carefully. Even gynoecium is trimerous in nature. You can just see, have a look here at the central region. Just have a look. 1, just you can have a look. So everything is in multiple of 3. So we call it as this flower as trimerous in nature. Coming to the sepals, I am going to open one of the sepal. Just you can see how leathery is the texture. It is more and more leathery. See, it is more leathery in texture. And it is persistent in case of female flower. Here I brought for you people only the male flower. Female fruit I have brought. You can see when the calyx remains persistent even after the formation of the fruit, you can see how the calyx is. In case of this perianth, when we are going to remove it in case of female flower, the arrangement of this female perianths are imbricate aestivation. In imbricate aestivation, you can just have a look. In the male flower, they were just in volvate aestivation, just they were touching each other. Both inner as well as outer perianth, they were just touching each other. But in case of female flower, you can see the overlapping of the perianths here, where you very more distinguishably you can see the overlapping of the perianth. Just I am going to open. Then you can understand it more clearly how the perianths are going to. Here two whorls are there, so you might get some confusion between this persistent calyx. Now you can see the overlapping, how they are overlap. Here it is on the outer side, and here it is on the outer side. This one calyx is on the inner side. One is completely in, and one is out, and another one is in. See, you can see, and one is completely out. Just I am going to show you once again properly. You can just have a clear look. Yes friends, I am just showing you one calyx is outer side, completely out. Here also it is out, here also it is out. One is on completely outer side, and this, as it was on the outer side, this usually we call it as inner one. Here it is inner side, and coming to here it is on the outer side. You can just see. Yes, it was overlapping. Here it was outer side and here it was inner side, and this one was completely in. It was covered by both. So we call it as imbricate aestivation in case of female flowers. And this is the ovary. When you people keenly observe, you can see the 3 carpels fused together. 1, 2 and 3 carpels. They are fused together to form one fruit. Here in one fruit, what happens during the development, both 2 carpels are going to degenerate and one carpel is going to develop very well with one ovule. Okay, within this ovary only one ovule is going to develop, and each carpel is having one ovule. It means 1, 2, 3 ovules are there, but at the time of development what happens, 2 ovules are suppressed and only one ovule is going to develop, which is anatropous in nature. Yes friends, as I told you earlier, it is having unisexual flower, but how you can see both male as well as female, you people might be having the doubt. It is having both male and female organs. Androecium and gynoecium both you are going to see. Just I am going to remove these anthers. Yes friends, now I have removed the anthers. Now we are left with the outer perianth and the ovary. The how you can see the stigma style and ovary there. Okay, these flowers are sessile. Flowers get stalk irodilla. You can observe it more keenly. Please observe it. These flowers are not having any stalk. They are sessile in nature. Here in case of gynoecium, it is 1 to 3 cell with very short style. You can see short is very small and 3 distinct stigma you can see. When you are going to take the section of this, you people can understand it more clearly. And after fertilization, it develops into fruit in this manner. So you can see how the calyx are below, and on top of the calyx is this ovary. You can understand it more clearly that it is the superior ovary. Fruit develops into a fibrous drupe or berry in case of dates. So endosperm, here it is ruminant type, and you can see the persistent leathery, you can call either it as a calyx or the perianth. Their calyx like structure, so modified calyx we can tell them. By this I'll be winding up my session.